This is mostly food homemade by my dad's mom. The eggs are homemade, and I believe these are potatoes that were cooked by my dad's mom the other day, along with the eggs. I recall that the cut up sausage was something that my dad prepared. And then added to this, along with what looks like a bit of Tabasco hot sauce. It could be Tabasco, but kind of tastes like Tabasco to me, but it could also be some other kind. Some other brand of hot sauce. Around 2 p.m., I had a few essentially hot dogs consisting of, instead of standard hot dog buns, standard pieces of bread, slices of bread, with hot dog links that were cut open, kind of cut open, split down the middle, but not entirely split. I had those hot dogs with a glass of whole milk, like I'm having currently. After I microwaved the hot dogs with slices of bread, serving as buns, for about 2 minutes. I recall 1.5 minutes first, and then an additional 30 seconds. I had those hot dogs with the glass of whole milk. Had the hot dogs with slices of bread acting as buns. around 2 p.m. after my mom took me around 1:15 p.m. to the American Red Cross Donation Center. I always donate either whole blood or platelets at. In this case, my mom took me for a quick blood draw that was done on my left arm. Pretty much near the inner side of my elbow on that arm. And it was a quick blood draw. And once the needle was put in, it was only about a minute at the most before the quick blood draw was complete. Just a small sample was needed as when I donated platelets about a week or so ago, the tubes that the testing of that the blood sample to test my platelet count, the tubes clotted, in the time that elapsed, most likely elapsed due to the platelet donation being done through both arms. Including the left arm, which historically is never used when I do whole blood donations, as it's not as cooperative as my right arm. But in that case, the platelet donation worked out perfectly fine. Prior to arriving at the donation center today. I had thoughts that my platelet donation wasn't donated, but because the pre-platelet donation test couldn't be completed because the tube clotted or the sample clotted too much for the test to be able to be done. But thankfully the platelets were still donated. I recall me and my mom arrived at the donation center around 1:30 p.m. and the whole process took about 15 minutes at max. And since there was no need for me to spend 15 or so minutes at the recovery area of the donation center, there was still an offer for me to take a bottle of water or something from the canteen of the recovery area. But I felt that wouldn't be appropriate since I didn't complete an actual donation today. But a staff member did kindly give out 2 pairs of Eclipse glasses, different from the ones I bought at the Wegmans by my mom's place. But still essentially working the same, having the same function. So now there's both a pair of Eclipse glasses for both me and my dad. At my dad's place. I recall first waking up for today around 4:45 in the morning. And then I had my first cup of plain coffee around 6 in the morning. And from 6 in the morning to about an end time somewhere between 8 and 9 in the morning. I had roughly 3 full cups of plain coffee. Though that was out of the London coffee cup. Which is among the smallest sized coffee cups, along with the Colosseum coffee cup. I also recall falling asleep again at one point during the late morning and waking up during the afternoon. And then falling asleep one more time during the evening hours. Or at the earliest during the late afternoon. And waking up for the last time today during the evening hours. Throughout today, I primarily went through my current rotation of games on Kongregate. During the hours between the times I ended up laying down on my bed in my upstairs room and falling asleep. After laying down for a while each time. I recall my mom first quite suddenly mentioned take me to the donation center for the quick blood draw to essentially do the pre-platelet donation testing around 1 p.m. when I thought to call my mom around that time, and then she called back within a handful of minutes. Though the mention wasn't entirely suddenly, since I knew that in advance that it would be coming up. That I would ultimately be brought to in the coming days the donation center for that quick blood draw. Ultimately, I was correct in that the issue was on the American Red Cross's end, or at least the donation center's end, and not on my end, since I thought from the start that it wouldn't really make sense for me to suddenly have a too low platelet count for a platelet donation when my first 3 platelet donations were within normal levels. I figured that sort of thing would occur gradually.